like to throw in weird questions at the interviewer just to see how they would react. And he was interviewing a young lady, and he asked her, if you could spend an evening with anyone, either living or dead, from the last 300 years, who would you pick? And she said, oh, definitely a living one. And I went, yeah. It's a change of perception. You say one thing, but you get another perception that's equally valid. What you will find, what I love about the Course, is it never makes wrong of the ego. It never makes wrong of judgment. It never makes wrong of anything. It just says you won't be happy. That's all. You can have your judgment. You just won't be happy. That's all. The Course in Miracles is a change in perception. It's asking us to change our mind. The Course is very simple, but it's not easy. As you can see, there's a lot of pages here to cover a simple concept. And what I love about the Course is I feel it's the most psychologically sound basis of spirituality I've ever read. That's what I love about it. And like I said, we got next week to go into more stuff. Where it came. Yes, Brent.
I think it's the modern. I've been studying it for 13 years, and it's more like I get more out of it, out of the Course in Miracles, than I do if I try to study the Holy Bible.
Yeah.
I can understand it better than I can the Bible.
Yeah. The Course is actually very straight talk. Now, the thing is, when I have a very healthy ego, and when I was first learning the Course, I found out that if I couldn't sleep at night, all I had to do was pull out the Course and start reading, and in about 2 paragraphs, I was snoozing. My ego did not want to hear. I was out. Yes.
How does the Course deal with reality and real solid reality of life?
Well, we'll get back to remember that question. That's part of what it covers today.
Recognize reality.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to get to that. So that's what's part of the introduction. So, of course, a miracle is a change from perception. It's just changing your mind. How easy is that to do? Yeah. I try forgiveness. It can be hard. Forgiveness is a change of perception. I mean, no, but this is what the Course is asking us to do. It's asking us to take a step into happiness, a step into wholeness. And we may have to do some things we may not enjoy as we're doing it. And like I said, next week we'll cover more of the different parts of the Course and everything. So this is a Course in Miracles. This is a Course in changing your mind. It is a required course. It's required that you change your mind. Why? Are you happy right now? If you are, great. If you're not, it's required to change. You're going to want to change your mind if you want to take this course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. So you're going to change your mind. It may take you 100,000 years. No, it may take you 1 billion years. This government, it may take you 1 billion years before they get it. It's okay. No biggie. I'm serious. Because, Jesus is standing in infinity. So 100 billion years doesn't even start infinity. So we got a lot of time. So sooner or later, this is what happens with most. The reason I got into the Course, the reason I got into therapy, the reason I got into all types of things to help me was that I came to a point when I realized my way ain't working. I'm in hell with women. I'm trying to have a relationship with women, and I'm in hell because it wasn't working. I had no idea that it was me that was the problem until I began to start looking at stuff. So only the time you take it is voluntary. You have a choice when you want to do it, but we will. Oh. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. So you don't get to choose. How many of us have chosen the lessons in our life? Raise your hand. Like I chose all my lessons. Yeah, I didn't choose a lot of my lessons. I did not choose to have my house flooded by Hurricane Harvey and lose everything. I did not choose my last life to have cancer. Maybe at some point I did. But you don't get to establish the curriculum. You only get to establish what you want to learn at a given time. You know, you can learn from a lesson from when you were 6 years old, even now. Go back and go, oh my God, my mom was loving me. That's how she was hating. You see what I'm saying here? This is a change in perception of how it happens. The course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. The course does not aim at teaching the meaning of God, for that is beyond what can be taught. You cannot teach God. Right? Can you describe God? As soon as you describe God, you missed it. You missed her. Because God is something else. So the course is not aimed at teaching the meaning of love, because we can't describe it. But it does help us have an experience of love. To have an experience of God. And when you have an experience of God, you can't talk about it. It's very, oh, it was happy, it was, no, keep missing it. This is what the course is teaching us. Not going to teach us about the meaning of love, that it can't be taught. The course, it does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. How many of you have had an experience where you hated something, or you thought somebody did something rotten to you, or whatever? Over the years, suddenly you realize that they were loving you. Maybe not the way you wanted to be loved, but they were supporting you. Anyone had that experience? Raise your hand. I've had like 70,000.
You're stealing my talk.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, we're done.
No.
Good, good.
That's it. Don't freak out.
Okay, so what we don't know is what we all have our perception of our world, do we not? We all have our perception of our universe. And believe it or not, we do not live in the same universe. None of us do. Brenda, your universe is different than my universe. You're sitting right across from me. We may be sharing something, but her thoughts are different than mine. Your experiences are different than mine. And so that's why you and I can have a fight and argue about something, and when I suddenly realize, oh, wait a minute, he's from a different universe. And in his universe, his thinking is correct.
Define universe, please.
Your entire, everything you see. Yeah. Yeah, no. Universe is your universe, everything you see. And see, we're sharing space right now of shared universes, but in your own mind, you have your own universe, do you not? Okay, fine. Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody's perception is their own.
Correct.
Your persona that you happen to be in my universe is the one that I put on you.
Mm-hmm.
You are individual, and you have your own universe.
Correct.
You're standing next to LB. LB has her own universe. All of us are alone.
Mm-hmm.
Really alone. And that's the issue that a lot of people can't wrap their minds around. They think that there are others out there
Everything out there is just more heat.
Yeah, but which is us. Yeah, us. All of us.
I'd like to add to that. Is this on?
Yes.
All right, so I kind of think of it like this, that when something hits me, a thought,
Mhm.
I have an opportunity to spin a planet,
Exactly.
you know? And so then, through the day, I'm
Yes.
creating a universe.
Yeah.
Just of this day.
I mean, how many of us have had, you go to work and your boss ignores you, gives you the stink eye, looks weird at you, and you go, what's wrong with him? And you're going the whole day. Maybe he had an upset stomach. Maybe he had problems at home and he came home and didn't even notice you as you walked into work, but you think this is what happens. But you're talking, you spin the story, and you're running with the story. What the Course is asking us, stop it. So what it's saying here, it does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. So love is all there is. It's been around us all the time. There is only God. That's all there is of God. We are aspects of God. But that's all there is, love. And so what the Course is doing is helping us to remove our blocks to the awareness of the love that's been all the time. I've had a hard time with my mother for a long time. I know I'm the only one, but you guys have healing stuff. For a long time, and it took me a while to begin to realize how wise, how loving, how she was always there for me. I was always spinning my story about what she did to me. I never realized that. What did I do to her? Because there were two people playing the game here. And that's just a minuscule of what the Course teaches us. As we begin to start realizing that the love has been always around all the time. And what the purpose of the Course is to remove our blocks to the awareness of love's presence. And I love this line, which is your natural inheritance. Your natural inheritance. Your inheritance as a child of God. You are a child of God, and your inheritance is love. Now, you could choose to close your eyes to it. That's your right as a child of God. But you won't be happy. So, when you were talking about reality, what is reality?
It overrides everything. That's why people agree on certain things that is different. Overriding presence. Sorry. It's an overriding presence, and kind of, all these people have their separate universes, but when they look at something that they can all focus on as a singular object, regardless of, like I see your red shirt, somebody else might see it. That's reality.
Yeah.
Singular concept.
But
Whatever, I don't know.
yeah, but the reality is that we are all, whether we like it or not, children of God. Sorry, you're stuck with that. Now you can act like something else, but you're still a child of God. And see, as I open up to the Christ in me, and I'm willing, I may not be ready to, but I'm willing to see the Christ in you. Or in someone else, someone who I really hate. Believe me, I have a good, strong ego. In the last 6 months, I've had lots of opportunities for my ego to come up and ride like a dragon and drag me all over the place. And I pull up the Course and have to bring myself back. Because I'm so justified. Okay? But it's about remembering, whether we like it or not, that everyone is loved. You may not be expressing it. It's not their job. It's my job to express it. I remember one time my grandson Nathan, he was sitting in our living room. He was doing something, and I got mad at him. Stop that, Nathan. He was like 2 or 3 or 4, and he learned that he could hurt his mother's feelings by saying, I don't love you anymore. Oh, his mother was just like an arrow. And I said, oh, Angie, get used to this. This isn't even the beginning.
He's not even a teenager yet.
Yeah, he's not even a teenager. So anyway, he grew, they're Greek. And so, Papu is Greek for grandfather. And he was sitting on the other couch and he said, Papu? I go, yeah, I don't love you anymore. And I said, well, it's not your job to love me. It's my job to love you. So you do whatever the hell you want. And he just stood there like, that's how big. You know, a minute later, he climbs on the couch and comes next to me, sits next to me. I go, no, that's okay. You sit over there. You don't love me. No, I changed my mind. Oh, really? You changed your mind? Yeah, but he was stunned. I said, it's not your job to love me. It's my job to love you. What you do, you have to realize, remember, it's my universe. In a way, I tell people that Course in Miracles, in a way, is one of the most selfish things you'll do. Because the only person who has to get the Course is you. You. That's all. You don't have to give the book to your neighbor and say, you got to read this. Or send it to Washington. You guys need to read this. No. It's the most selfish thing because when you get the message that you are loved, you are lovable, and so is everybody else. Funny thing happens. You're walking down the aisle at Walmart, and this is why a couple of weeks ago I did a talk on blessing you, bless you, bless you, bless you. And for some reason, people smile. People will be like, can I help you? And I'm not saying it happens all the time, but I noticed as we embrace the God self that we are, we make it easier for the God self and other people to show up. You know about tuning forks? You strike a tuning fork, and you have a tuning fork on the other side with the same pitch. What happens to that tuning fork? It starts vibrating. So on the other side of the room, same resonance. So you walk into a room, and not everybody is on the same pitch. That's okay. But there'll be some that you just, hi, how you doing? Can I help you? Or whatever. And I'm not talking about doing ooey, goody. Ugh, I hate that stuff. I'm just talking about, no, genuinely, I'm walking in a Walmart, and I am amazed sometimes at the level of love that is in a Walmart. No, because you look at mother with 3 kids and she's doing the best she can, and all I can do is God bless you. Some construction worker, they're all dirty, and he's cussing on. Bless you, man. I don't know what's going on with your job. And maybe at some point, their tuning fork resonates. Maybe for a second, then they forget. It's okay. This is what I want to talk about this today. I want you to understand what the Course is going. Yes.
Yeah, as an idea, I don't know if anybody's ever been to Home Depot looking for help,
Yeah.
but if you go into Home Depot and your heart is completely open, you'll be amazed at how many people will show up at your location trying to help you.
Yeah.
It's just, it just goes, your openness goes before you.
Correct.
It's just already, it's there and it's waiting for you.
Right. Yes.
Well, before Home Depot and Lowe's got their customer service enlightened, was whenever Menards come to town, and Menards bend over backwards to meet everybody's needs.
Mm-hmm.
So Home Depot and Lowe's followed suit, and their customer service is twice as good now as it was before
Right. Yeah.
Menards come to town.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here other day, I was in a the neighborhood Walmart market, and the cashier said she noticed this button,
What's it say?
my pronouns,
Uh-huh.
and she said, I appreciate you know that. She said, now I know that you prefer pronouns.
Uh-huh.
And I said, yeah, that, but that ain't the reason why there's some people in the mobile home park where I live.
Uh-huh.
Miss Jen goes out of their way to misgender me, so I've been wearing this all the time to try to enforce my beliefs
Mhm.
and let them know how I feel.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things you hear in this church, which I love, and which is what the course is teaching us, is become authentic. Become authentic. The Christ that you are. Not, people say, what would Jesus do? I'm sorry, I disagree totally. What would you do? What would the Christ in you do? Not what would Jesus do. He would forgive. Maybe I'm not ready to forgive. I'm a realist. I struggle with spirituality and God and Jesus for many years. And I really believe if you don't believe in something, don't believe it because I'm standing up here telling you that. If it rings true, go for it. If it doesn't, don't go for it. Find what's true for you, the belief or system that works for you. I've gone through 5 or 6. And it comes a point, I've noticed it comes a point where, okay, something's off here. It comes an end. I have not found the end of the course. To me, this is one of my legs I stand on. My meditation technique is the other leg I stand on. I always find something new in the course. So, it says, it does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. The opposite of love is fear. Oh, yeah. The opposite of love is fear. But what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. What? Wait a minute. What did you just say? The opposite of love is fear. But if there's nothing but love, what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. So he's saying here, really, right on the first, you haven't even opened the book yet. And he's saying, fear isn't real. Anger isn't real. Hate isn't real. Judgments are real. You want illusions? That's illusion. That's where illusions are. Where we live 99.9% of our time in illusion. In fear, and hate, and judgment. And it doesn't make us wrong. We're just not happy. That's all it is. And so, it's saying there's nothing but God. And you are nothing but God. You may believe that you're something other than God. When I first read the course, and I found myself getting irritated without you're innocent, you're a child of God. It just teed me off. Because I did not believe that I was innocent. I did not believe I was loved. And it took 2.5 years to take some classes that I began to realize on how my hate, my judgments, my anger, because my anger is powerful. Love is weak. Love is empty. Anger is powerful. No, I began to realize the reason I'm angry is because I'm afraid. The reason I'm jealous is because I'm afraid. The reason I'm judgmental is because I'm afraid. And when the course begins to start saying, wait a minute, what you see out there is what's in here. Whoa, wait a minute, you say I'm a liar? Well, yeah, there's times I lie. There's times I lie to myself. I mean, when you begin to start realizing, you start taking it back, you start realizing that, as I said, the only person that needs to take this course is you. The only person who needs to take it, nobody else. And when you begin to start realizing that there is nothing but love, that like here, I spend most of my time in the region. You know, have you ever created a total universe and believed in it? Have you ever done that? Huh? Eyes open, eyes closed. You ever have a dream? I mean, what is a dream? You totally forget this universe, and then you're having a dream that your wife is cheating on you, or something. For someone that I know. But Harvard did a study. You know how many in the average dream? How many people are in the average dream? How many people are in the average dream?
3 or 4.
One.
Great.
That boss, that wife that is cheating on you, who is doing the dreaming? Right, the boss who's yelling at you, who is doing the screaming at you? You know, and see, we forget that. We wake up, well, wait a minute, I did that to myself. And see, Jesus says, of course, at one point, your waking dreams and your sleeping dreams are no different, except in one, your eyes are closed. Okay? With my eyes open, I am still. How many of you have had this experience where something is right in front of you and you don't see it, but everybody else does? Anyone have that experience? I've done it so many. Yeah, then I'll go, oh my God, it's right there. I didn't see it. Why? Because I was in an illusion. I was seeing what I thought was there, what I wanted to see. And once again, I'm going to be really boring with this. It doesn't make you wrong. Jesus never, in the course, I don't think he's ever says the word sin. He says you could be unhappy. He says errors call for correction, never punishment. Errors call for correction, never. You don't need to punish it. I've done some pretty nasty, lousy things in my life. Hurt some people that I still would love to go back and change it, but I can't. But errors call for correction. And when I do my meditation, I can go back to that person and say, I'm sorry. And I love you. That's all I can do, because they're dead. You hear what I'm saying here? But it doesn't mean because they're dead or gone in another city that you can't heal your stuff. Errors call for correction. And all I have to do is go, well, the next time I get nailed with that, I think next time I'll go, oh, wait a minute, let me step back. Julie, is there a way I can see this in your eyes instead of my eyes? I see this different. This person is yelling at me. I remember one time, I was manager of the programming department in Seattle, and we were doing a new upgrade, a massive upgrade to the mortgage system, and I was in charge of it. And we were already 3 weeks late, and I was going to have to tell them it was going to be another 3 weeks late. And the managers, the vice presidents, and the presidents of the bank were mad. Their guns were ready. I'm going to this meeting. And my boss says, I have so much faith in you, Jerry, I'm going to let you do it alone. I'm not going to go in there. Thanks, buddy. But my girlfriend at the time, she said, I went to Unity last night, and Alan Cohn was speaking. And he said that sometimes your enemies are your best friends because they will tell you the things that your friends won't tell you. And she had this little post-it note with a little heart with a rainbow on it. She put it on my folder of walking in the meeting. And as I was walking, I opened the door and suddenly went, what if these guys have my greatest good? What if they're just loving me? They want me to have a raise. They want me to make lots of money. And they're going to yell at me because they want me to do a better job. And I walked in with this attitude of they were my friends instead of being up with him. And it was amazing meaning change. I said a prayer. I looked at them all and I said, okay, here's the bad news. We got another 3 weeks. We have to work on a program. But here's the good news. The reason it's 3 weeks later is because we did a whole bunch of enhancements that you've been asking for. And finally we got around to it. It was funny that they started praising it, and then one guy started saying, yeah, but you said everything. They started arguing. One of the other bank managers yelled at him, saying, hey, shut up. He's doing the best he can. You hear what I'm saying? It was just an attitude change of where I just saw them as my friends instead of my enemies. And this is what's available. Errors call for correction, never punishment. You find yourself doing something wrong, just correct it. Don't beat yourself up. So the opposite of love is fear. But what is all encompassing can have no opposite. Because nothing can be different. This course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way. Very simply in this way. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Nothing real can be threatened. What is real? Okay?
Love of God.
Yeah, but what else? You, your soul. There is no hell. As we sang, there is no hell unless you make it. You have anyone been in hell? I know the answer. I lived there a couple times. But nothing real, who you are, cannot be threatened. And when you come from that standpoint, like when I walked into that room with all these angry people, I realized who I am can't be threatened by what I think they're going to do. I can remember who I am in the present. You hear what I'm saying here? Yes.
Every time someone mentions hell, I keep saying to myself, I don't know why any other religion can't say it too. If God is all powerful, the only presence, then there can be no other power. If that's true, then God is all powerful. There's only one power, God. So there's no hell.
Right.
Period.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, so nothing real can be threatened. This is the part I have a card on my where I sit and watch TV and stuff. But I have a card that says nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Here reminds the peace of God to remind me, no matter what's going on. My stocks are going down, my stocks are going up, grocery prices are going up, grocery prices are going down. No matter what, nothing real can be threatened. Who I am cannot be threatened. I can sit there and go, I know guys who wake up every morning and look at the stock market, and their day is determined by how the stock market is doing. I'm going, crazy, or what's going on in the news. I don't watch the news. I'm just not interested in knowing the insanity that I'm capable of, because it draws me down. Yes.
And I found that true to be what I'm invested in my mind. When I'm thinking of the past this morning, I woke up and I thought, oh, I'm living in the past.
Yeah.
So it's our own investment, our own stock market.
Yes. That's all you say, Yeah.
I have an old friend that passed away a few years ago. He used to go here. His name was Al. And he used to say, I think the only reason we come to Earth is because we get bored in heaven. And we want to go have a beer and a cigarette and do whatever. And that's what, that's why I think we're here.
Well, I like to tell people that I am God's representation on this earth. I'm his agent. Because God does not know what tiramisu tastes like or the joys of chocolate. So I am the one who, God, this is chocolate. This is what it tastes like. This is what tiramisu, it's silly. But I am an aspect of God, And so nothing real can be threatened. When you remember this all the time, you watch the news, and then you go, wait a minute. I am not threatened. Nothing unreal exists. What is unreal? Everything. Everything you see, because you're seeing it through your filters. You're seeing it through your beliefs. So, any of you have had experience where you had someone you hated or someone you thought was treating you wrong, and then you find out you were actually loving me or supporting me. Oh my God, it's a change of perception. It's a miracle, you know. And so you begin to start realizing, you know, for me, and believe me, I go nuts. You know, I see stuff going on, and I go nuts. I get self-righteous. I get on Facebook, I start writing some garbage, and I pull myself back. There's nothing wrong. I just notice that when I'm writing garbage, I'm not happy. I'm upset. Yes, you have a question.
I'm just thinking of the slogan that is probably one of my favorites, and it talks about revenge. And I think revenge is like drinking a bottle of poison and hoping somebody else dies.
Yeah, right.
And you know, it's like what this stuff does to us. You know, these crazy thoughts that people well describe. It's you know, and again, it's hard to get back into the you know, into the moment, if you will. You know, because that's to me that's the key to kind of get out of all this is to stay in the moment because that's all we got anyway.
Correct.
And you know, just to because we're tempted to kind of run down that road. But it's funny because my ex-wife's sister was an alcoholic and she was complimenting me about not taking a drink. And I said, Debbie, I've read all the books and there's no happy endings. You know, it's just kind of things that you learn. I guess it takes a while with age, and kind of part of it is realizing you're actually doing more harm to yourself. And you know, and this is what you got. Because everything else out there is unreal.
Yeah, no, everything else, because, you know, this is what I read. This is me talking back. Okay, this is me talking. But learning about my relationships with women, and as I grew, and as I learned, I can tell you women are, I love you guys. Because you're me. You're deeply about me. And what I realize is that as soon as I'm upset about, even if I'm right, if I'm right, even if I have all the facts that are right, if I have a stance, I'm wrong. Because right there, my filters are up and I'm not seeing. And I've had so many times when, even though I'm right, I have the right answer. And I'll say to Patty, you know, well, tell me your spin on it. And she gives me her spin. And what I do as she's talking is I shut up. I do not think. I listen. I do not think about what I'm going to say when she's done talking. I listen. And you know what? Every time, she's right. And so am I. Because she'll do the same thing. Then she'll listen to me. Well, tell me how you see it. And we'll both go, okay, this is interesting because both sides of that. Of Course in Miracles says the ego is based on fear, which isn't real. But the Course says even if something isn't real, it doesn't mean it doesn't have power. When you believe in fear, you give it power. That's where belief comes in. So the Course is very specific. And I thought, wow, okay, you know. But when you're able to stand in the midst of the storm, and maybe you're in the midst of the storm, you stick your hand out the storm and say, somebody hold my hand while I'm in this. Jesus, God, Buddha, anybody, hold my hand while I'm in this hell. But I'm not going to believe the hell. I'm going to watch it. Be still and know that I am God. You know, that's why I tell me, you know, be still and know that I am God. Okay? So nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. Herein lies the peace of God. That's where peace is. Does anybody have any questions? We got a couple minutes. Yes.
That's not really a question, it's a statement. I've been reading a lot of Ken Wilber.
Mhm. Okay.
And Ken Wilber has studied everything about everything. And basically, what he came to the conclusion was that everybody's right. And that as we expand our awareness, we become righter because we are embracing more and more and understanding that everybody else is right and reducing the judgment.
Correct.
And so the solution, but is to just increase your knowledge and information so that you're embracing more and more and more of a above a world view, a universal view where everything is inclusive because it's all right. And the more I read of his stuff, the more the more the world makes sense.
Yeah. It came over.
Yeah. He published a book last July.
No, I know of some of this stuff.
Well, the last one he did was last July, and I hadn't read anything that he had published since 16. And the last one is even more encompassing, and it just is amazing the knowledge that he has
Yeah.
accumulated.
Yeah.
And it just brings you to a different level of thought.
There's a part in the course, chapter called Above the Battlefield, in which Jesus says, imagine rising above the battlefield. Instead of being in the battle, rise above and watch it. Look, there I am, screaming at that person. Just rise above it. Don't get, because you begin to realize after a while that that's just the part of me, the little part of me that's afraid. Yes.
I have a problem with that, not everything being right, because I've been attacked by people, guns pointed at my head, all kinds of threats to my life. My mother was murdered, so I don't feel like it's right when someone attacks or endangers me. Didn't feel right.
I agree. And I don't know, I have nothing to say to that. Because I hear it and I agree with that and I agree with that. So let's see if that makes sense.
Yeah. Feel less.
Well, see, that's, it's always, but some of us, I was a therapist and spiritual counselor, and some people, some of the hell they've gone through. I would be amazed if you ever want to, if you ever come close to it. It's like I could understand, but I have the compassion to know that it's possible. And it's just always a step. But yeah, yes. What did you?
I'm trying to put my thoughts together here. So this morning I had an experience where, can you hear me? That it was a barking dog, not my barking dog. And this happens often. So when I started thinking about ACIM, the problem is not what I think it is.
Correct.
So, the issue happened and I got upset with this neighbor and all that stuff happened. But once I got back inside, it was like, I guess my question is how do you apply the ACIM lessons when you reflect into it? Is it literally just allowing for you or anyone?
Oh, okay, for me. No, I have a barking dog across the street that sometimes just irritates the hell out of me. No, I'm in my yard and you're barking at me.
I have one of those too.
Yeah, okay, this is me, okay, you know. But anytime I lose my peace of mind, that's my problem, not the dog. The dog is just a catalyst to bringing something up. I've had all types of vengeful thoughts of how to get back at the dog, back at the owner, back, you know, whatever, you know. It's not about ignoring the problem. It's about realizing that I lost my peace of mind. That's the problem. And then you give, because I've had this the experience, believe it or not, of being in white hot rage filled hate and being peaceful. Like that is where you need to be. That is appropriate for right now. Because the thing is, I'm not hurting somebody. I'm just letting somebody hurt me, and I want to kill. And I just let myself feel it as I'm meditating, and I realize, well, yes, you're human, you were hurt, you know. But don't go out and yell, "Yo, I picked the dog," whatever, because then you make it crazy. That's the illusion. And so that's the closest I could say to help. Is that for me, if I lost my peace of mind, that's the important. And sometimes it's going to talk to the neighbor. You get back to your peace of mind, and then you talk to the neighbor. Do we do something about this? You know, or whatever. And you may be so open that you say, you know, I'll try to do something. I don't know what the issue is, because there are so many things that we can't control. Is that not true? You know.
Yeah, it's not about the dog.
Correct.
Like you said.
Right. Yes. Sorry.
Barking.
Yeah.
It's not about the barking.
Right. Yeah.
In my brain, it is.
Yeah. No, and that's perfectly in your universe it is. Yes.
Whenever there's anything in my life, like that dog across the street from me, or somebody in traffic, or my son's girlfriend, or anything, you know.
Yeah.
I have told this story 1,000 times, and most of you have probably already heard it, that Neil Donald Walsh wrote a book called The Little Soul of the Sun.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh.
And for those of you that don't know, there's an angel that wants to come to earth, and he's talking to God, and he says, I want to go down there and learn how to forgive. And God says, whoa, you're on your own, there's nothing to forgive. And he goes, oh, but I really want to. This other little angel pops up and says, tell you what, I'll go down there and be the bad guy.
Yeah.
And he goes, wow, you'd do that for me?
Yeah.
You'd go down there and give up all the love and everything else. You'd do that for me?
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, but there's something you got to do for me
Right.
if I do. And he goes, what? I'll do anything. He says, you got to remember who I am when I'm doing it so I don't forget.
I know. I love that.
Very nice.
Yeah. Just remember who I am, because I'm going to forget.
Yeah.
And it's like, and see, this is what we're doing. We're getting other people's tuning forks going. Someone's being hateful or whatever. You know, because believe me, I've been nuts. I've been rageful, you know, and I know what it's like. But I found that my peace doesn't depend on the price of eggs, or whether I went up or down, or whether the road, you know, whatever. And I notice how quickly I give up my peace. Jesus says in the Course of Miracles, it's amazing how quickly you give up your peace over an egg. You have to have
For me, what kind of works is it's responding versus reacting.
that. Yes. Yeah.
And because my large part of my life I was reacting,
Me too.
and I find that responding just takes you to another place.
Right.
And typically, what I have to do is count to 3 or 4, or 20 or 50 or 100.
Yeah. Too many.
But to just remember to respond rather than react, because reacting always takes me to the place I don't want.
Right. Now, I don't know how much time we have left. Yeah.
All the time in the world.
All right. Thank you.
So I was raised by parents that had a different mindset than most of the world.
Mhm.
Both both of my parents were raised by Christian Science mothers. My father was a student of Zig Ziglar. Under him, my father was born in 1904. And I was raised on a farm with our closest neighbor being a mile away, and we didn't really associate with anybody except the people that at the Christian Science Church until I was first grade. I didn't go to kindergarten. And so I was raised with such a different mindset, and I was always taught the stories of the miracles of the guy that was in the concentration camp that was normal weight, because when he was eating his soup, he was imagining that he was eating a steak, and his body took that on, and he was healthy. The lady that was in the subway, and some guy got caught later raping somebody, and she's like, well, and he says, well, because there was a big man sitting next to you. And there was no big man sitting next to her. The lady that was in Israel, right at the time that Great Britain pulled out, and the Jews were defending themselves, and she had to have milk for a baby that she was taking care of that wasn't hers. So she had to climb over this wall. And as she got to the wall, there was a man there that got her over the wall. And when she turned to thank him, he wasn't there. So I was raised with this kind of consciousness. And it wasn't until I started jobs and working with other people that my thoughts got contaminated, so to speak. But when you walk on a higher level, and when you're vibrating at that level, things can't touch you.
Correct.
I worked a street ministry, and people would say, yeah, I'm standing on the street, somebody's holding a gun to my head, and this is what happened, and they quit, and now they're, helping me out do things. So I lived in that atmosphere, and then, life happened, and I kind of forget that you can live there. But the more I listen to the stories of these kind of things, the more I go back and live there in my mind. When all the houses around me sold, I was like, I want neighbors that are, and I don't think I used the word community, but I want community. When I went to Germany, I had 4 of my neighbors taking turns taking care of my cat. And we all are friends, and we do, they're all, and so they were all people that moved in while I was holding that thought that I wanted neighbors that were neighbors in the old sense of the word. And that's what they are. And it's a space that if we understand that we can be there, but you have to know that it's possible.
Right.
And then you have to just stay in the present and let it happen.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is our thoughts are forming our reality, our
Yeah. Well, I went through this thing with somebody in Tulsa burned my house down, and I thought it was going to cost me a lot to fix the house. And the only thing that came to my mind is God's at my back.
Right.
Every time I would start thinking about something else, it's like, no, God's got my back. And it was amazing how it unfolded.
Okay, one last comment.
So would you say that reality is actually seeded by faith? Would you say, is it too far to reach to say that reality is seeded by faith?
Your reality.
Well, each person's reality is
Yeah, by belief.
seeded by their own faith.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good description.
Yeah.
Because that seed can grow.
Okay, I think, we have some announcements. Is that Brandon gonna do that?
Yeah. The announcement is, join us this evening and every Sunday at 6 p.m. for a peaceful group meditation session. Whether you are a seasoned practitioner or just starting out, all are welcome. For our celebration service next Sunday, we are excited to meet Jeremy nominated recording artist John Tuhall to our platform. Through his music, speaking, and book, John Tuhall has reached into troubled world, sharing the healing power of love, compassion, and humanity, and offering global, ingenuous, earth-based approach to physical, emotional, and spiritual health, wellness, and achieve balance approaches. Next Sunday, our youth will release an adult class joined by Jerry Stefaniak for a Course in Miracles Part 2. Class begins at 9:15. If you haven't already done so, please mark your calendar for our next community through music. The event is Summer Connection Series features a variety of local musicians. Bring a chair and a friend and come and enjoy evening live music and human connection. And it is a fundraiser luau party.
So, I think do we have anything else? Let's just gather in the back. Whatever, blessing, unblessed.
Brenda, hit the finish on the screen.
Hit one.
Finish.
Okay.